Hello everyone, I'm here today with a new video, and this one is a flip through. I'm showing you the first half of my Oklahoma City album, and this is one I'm using a life crafted album, so it's all 3x8 or 4x8, and this is the one where I've done all the layouts in Canva. So you will see that all the layouts were done, and then all I really had to do was embellish, which is awesome. When I do albums like this, it goes so much faster. I actually did an album like this previously of just like a fall weekend trip that I did with some friends, and I really loved the process. I love the fact that it's hybrid, that I can make sort of the background of the layout in a much quicker fashion, but yet I still get all the fun tactile embellishment stuff. So with that said, let's get into it. So for my opening page, obviously I did all the background, all this is digital, and then I just added the puffy sticker. I used some letters that I had. I think these are from Evalicious, however you say it. Like, I don't even think they're in business anymore, but I've had some of their alphas for a long time, so I figured might as well use those. And then I did a little bit of stamping, some washi. It came together super fast. I love all the mix of colors to match the Southwest plain, and I just think it really worked out to be a great opening page. On the left side, I just have arriving in the airport. I had never been to Oklahoma City before, so the airport was new to me, the city was new to me, everything was new to me. But I loved the color mix that they had going when I got away from my gate in the airport, so I thought I'm gonna take a picture of that and highlight it. So I chose to do that, and then I just have a couple of pieces of ephemera there, and again all the rest of this is digital. Like these I did not stamp. That is part of this 4x8 layout that I bought, so I didn't even have to add those. They just came as part of it, which is awesome. I did do a little bit of stamping there, and then on this side all of these features and the lines and everything were built in. All I did was change the wording really to suit what I needed. And then I chose to drop in a digital card here rather than a photo, because I really only needed these three. I didn't need a bunch of other stuff. And I thought, well, I don't want to just use a random picture just because I don't think it needs it. So I chose to do this instead. And I flew in on a Saturday, and the only thing that I had on my agenda was to go to the Oklahoma City bombing memorial. I knew that I would probably spend multiple hours there, that it was going to be a very heavy emotional experience. So I did not want to like force myself to do anything else. So that's all we're gonna see for Saturday. So kind of a shorter day, but that's all right. So you can see here, I chose the grid type for this layout, a little bit more of a wild background just to liven it up. Otherwise it felt really flat and kind of boring. And I had the titling already, so I just added the extra things here. Super easy, super simple. And then I did happen to get the full brochure when I was at the museum, and I attached it with a citrus twist attacher and left it in full. I had thought about cutting it down because I'm like, do I really need everything that's on the inside? But I think I do, because when I look back at this, I want to remember all the different things that I saw on the inside and how things were laid out. So I did choose to keep the brochure in its entirety, but I did add this to the back. I bought a patch in the gift shop, and so I thought, all right, I'll do something with that. And this worked out really well. So I just added the extra stuff here. So this is almost like more of a true layout, because nothing on here is digital. This is actually a scrapped layout. So you won't see too many of those in here because most of them are the Canva style. So for the layout on the right, I did a 3x8 and then kind of changed my mind once I had it. I needed it to fit on the back of a 4x8, which is on the other side. So I thought, all right, well, I'll just, put it on a background. And so I just found some paper that kind of matched this background here. And I think that worked out fine. So if you're thinking about doing this and you make a layout in Canva and you have that sizing problem, you can tweak it. You can find ways to make that work. It'll be okay. So just know pretty much everything is fixable if that happens. But for this one, I just added a phrase label and 2 puffy stickers to match, and that's it, because I really wanted the photos and my journaling to be the focus, because again, this is kind of a heavy thing, and so I didn't need to go crazy with my embellishments. So on the back side of that, like I said, I needed this one to be a 4x8 in some respect because this was a 4x8. And this one, again, it was just so serious and so heavy that I didn't want to add a lot to it. So I had this put on digitally before it was printed. Same with this. I just entered the date there. All I really did was add like these phrase stickers and this little label, and that's it. So again, super simple. This whole thing probably took me 5 to 8 minutes to put it together, and I love that. And then on this side, again, I'm still at the memorial. I put in the title, but I chose a grid pattern, and I dropped in digital paper behind this, knowing like, oh, I've got yellow in there, it'll match. And then I just picked out my ephemera pieces, and I got lucky that I actually had 3 that matched. They were all from some set that I had. I don't remember what it was, but they all matched, and it looked good with these photos, so I kind of lucked out there. So that was all I took at the memorial. I actually chose not to take photos at all inside the museum. It was so overwhelming, and it was very similar to when I went to 9/11 in New York. Like, I didn't really, once I got into the museum itself, the main parts, I didn't really take any photos because I just wasn't up to it. And I thought, you know what? Believe me, I'll remember this. It's seared into my brain. I don't need photos to look back at that. I know what it was like. I remember what it felt like. So same principle here. But on my way out, I just like wanted to walk for a while. I just needed to kind of be alone, clear my head, just kind of process through all of the things that I just saw and felt. And so when I was walking back, I walked through this little park that's near the current federal building. And they had these stars that were out on the lawn just as art pieces. And so I took some pictures of those, dropped them into a very, very simple template, you know, that had 3 photo slots, little bit of journaling. These items here, these are all done digitally. They were available for free on Canva, so I just dropped them in as design elements and called it good. I just want to give a close-up of those so you can see there's all kinds of fun things that you can find in Canva. They're actually free design elements. You don't have to buy the premium membership in order to get access to a lot of fun stuff. So the only other thing I really did that was outside of my Airbnb is I went to go get dinner, and luckily I was in an area where there were lots of food places nearby, so I just walked like, I think it was maybe 3 blocks, and went to this ramen house and got my dinner, and I chose to bring it back to my room. I did not feel like eating out and having a social experience that evening, so just took it back to my room and ate there. And then I just did this on the back since I didn't really have anything else that would go with that, but I wanted to use the receipt. And then on this side, this is me coming back. So I was in apartment number 11, and you can see kind of, I had an umbrella with me because it looked like it might rain that first day I was there, so I had that with me. And then you can see my drink there. And then if you look closely on the TV, you can see I was watching You've Got Mail on Netflix. So that was it for Saturday. So the next morning, Sunday morning, I got up and I went to this coffee shop that was just 2 blocks in a different direction from my apartment. And it was called Elemental Coffee. And it was such a cool place. I loved the vibe of it. I loved how they had it decorated. Like, there were tons of green plants inside, and it just felt really warm, cozy, welcoming. I enjoyed it. So I took a picture of my coffee there and the little treat that I got for my breakfast. And the only thing I added on this layout was this wood veneer coffee cup. That's it. Everything else you see here was done in Canva. So for this side, this is the only screw up that I had. I had this printed as a 4x8, and it actually had journaling at the bottom. And I realized after I printed it and it got to me, I had a typo in there. So I was super mad at myself because I thought I had checked so carefully, but I had an error, and I didn't want to wait to do another order to reprint it. So I just cut that part off and chose to place it on a background instead. And you know what? I think that works fine. And I didn't really need the journal. You can see, obviously, it says right here, Myriad Botanical Gardens. That's where I was. So I think it's fine as is. So I just added these wood veneer pieces that I had and some washi, and it was good to go. So I really love the botanical gardens. I have quite a few layouts here in a row. So here's another one I did. So I'm still outside here. I haven't even made it inside the conservatory yet. So these are from outside. And again, they had this cool pattern already in there, so I just used that. dropped in some digital paper that I knew would match, and then I added 2 floral ephemera pieces and this little strip that says Wanderer. That's it. So I didn't have to do anything too crazy, which is awesome. And then over here, I had bought the sticker in the gift shop, and I wasn't sure how to make it fit because all of these layouts are really full in terms of like the photo space that they take up. So I thought, okay, I'm going to have to add something extra. So I chose to just add a 3x4 card. I put the sticker on one side with a little embellishment. And then the back side, I actually did some real journaling, and then I have another piece of ephemera there. And I do that a couple of times in this first half, and I can pretty much guarantee it's going to happen in the back half too, because I have some other receipts and things that I will need to incorporate in similar ways. So here we are, we're still at the Botanical Gardens, but now we're inside in the conservatory. So again, I just dropped in some digital papers and I found some pieces of ephemera to match. So super simple, super fast, love it. Same thing here. I loved this sort of ombre gradient background choice that they had. That was in Canva. I did not own that. So I decided to use that. Again, digital paper, embellishment. Luckily I had some phrases that would work, and they were in colors that would go with my theme. So that was an easy one to do, which I'm grateful for. And then I have a couple here that are back-to-back 3x8s. So I didn't want everything to be 4x8, even though it's kind of an easier size to work with in Canva. I didn't want to do that all the time. So I do have a couple 3x8s. Here's one right here. Literally all I did on this one was plonk on that chipboard piece. That's it. That's all it needed. It was done. All the rest of this was done in Canva. Same here. This was a title that they had. All I had to do was change my wording and then have the color that matched. Stuck this on. Done. That's all it needed. And then over here, I used that tri photo one again. I really like that one. I have both a 4x8 and a 3x8 option for that. So I use that one. Just use a little ephemera piece, a puffy sticker. I can't believe I actually had one that said grow and bloom. I didn't remember that I had that until I started going through like my flower and garden stuff. So score. That worked out really well. After that, it was more than time for lunch. I was kind of running late in terms of lunch hour. I think it was like 1:30 or something. So I went to the art museum, which was my next thing on my list. And I walked there, and I think it was like seven blocks maybe, like not super long. But I didn't realize they were having a big festival in front of the art museum. So I was like, oh, okay. So I'm going to stop and get something to eat. I'm going to look at some of the architecture, and then I'll go in the art museum. So this was my lunch. I stopped at a food truck, and it was blackened catfish, the best one I've ever had in my life. Just at a random food truck in Oklahoma City. Who would have thought? So I have lovely pictures here, and that bright purple really helped liven up the layout, so I didn't have to do a lot. All of this in Canva, all I did was add that puffy sticker of the purple star. Over here, you can see some of the architecture as I was walking. This was kind of like their courthouse, city hall type area here, but this building was just gorgeous. And then they had a mini Statue of Liberty. And I know there are multiple statues like this around the US. Like I found one, there's one at the Iowa State Capitol, of all places. Found that by accident. There's one here too, apparently. So that was kind of interesting to see that. So now I can say I've seen several across the nation. And this one, this was already part of the template that I had. It was not in Canva. I bought this separately and loaded it to Canva, but this was in there, so I didn't have to mess with that. Dropped in digital paper that had a nice subtle green pattern there, and then just added this. And here's the front of the art museum. I wanted to talk about that, a little bit about that festival that was going on and stuff, and I was worried about the crowds that maybe were potentially going to be inside. It wasn't too bad, but I wanted to just tell that little story. I just added some washi and then matching hearts here because I was just in love with this exhibit I was going to see, so I wanted that to show in the embellishments I used. And then the exhibit was about chihuly, pieces of glasswork, and this is permanent, while some of the other ones are just, on loan for the exhibit. This is permanent, and it takes up the entire height of this museum, which is 3 floors. So hopefully that gives you an idea of how tall that was. But that's the first thing you see. You can actually see it a little bit from outside through the glass, but this is the first thing that greets you when you walk in, and it is spectacular. And then from there, I was moving through the exhibits. You can see again, I chose a simple grid pattern, a little bit more elongated for those photos. I thought that would work better. And then I just have a puffy sticker, this little phrase pennant down there. That was enough. It didn't need any more. And then here's another one that I inserted because I wanted to use my ticket. So I just put a puffy heart on it there, and I used an attacher from Citrus Twist. They're making them now in half size. So you can get the full size or half. So I used a half there and just cut it down a little bit to fit my ticket. And then over here, this was a template I had too. So the midday was already in there. I have a set that says morning, midday, evening. You'll see the evening one elsewhere. And so I decided to use that there. And again, just 2 puffy stickers, just 2 hearts, or I'm sorry, 2 stars. That's enough. It really didn't need anything else. And then this is the last layout that I've done for this first half. And this was, again, kind of, a theme here. I like having odd numbers of photos. And so having the option of having 3, very cool. This is another one where I printed it in 3x8, not really knowing what was going to happen once I started putting things together. So I had to make it into a 4x8, but it worked out well. I just picked out some green background paper that would match, and then I did some ink splattering, and this is the mica mist from Nuvo, and I love this stuff. It's a little hard to see on camera, but it's very metallic and shiny. So it adds a nice punch to any page if you're going to use it like this. And especially I like it here because there's so much that's digital. This adds actual texture along with my phrase that I used and then my puffy sticker. So when I start the back half, it'll start right here with this brochure. I hope you'll come back and join me for that one, and that you've enjoyed looking at how to put together a Canva album. It's very simple. Yes, you have to teach yourself Canva a little bit, but it's very user-friendly and intuitive. So if you haven't tried it, I highly recommend that you do. Thanks for watching.